I knew I was crossing a line the moment I let him in. It was late, the kind of night where the rain seems to melt down the windows like grief. My husband, Alex, was away on his third business trip that month. I was alone, curled up on the couch, watching the storm trace streets across the glass when I heard a faint knock, soft, hesitant, but somehow familiar. When I opened the door and saw Josh, my ex, standing there, soaked through and shivering, my heart jolted. He hadn't changed. Those intense eyes, the same crooked grin. But something in him had shifted. A weight sat on his shoulders. He said he was just passing through, noticed my car, and hoped maybe, just maybe, I'd open the door. I should have closed it. I didn't. Instead, I made tea. We sat on the couch, talking like old times, as if the years apart hadn't carved wounds into us both. I kept telling myself it was harmless. Just catching up. I had control. But control is an illusion. Something you think you're holding until it slips through your fingers. He talked about regret, about how he never truly moved on. Then he asked me a question I wasn't prepared for. Are you happy? And that shattered me. Because deep down, no, I wasn't. Not really. Alex and I had drifted. So far we were practically strangers. We barely touched, barely talked about anything that mattered. Our lives have become about schedules, deadlines, bills. I miss feeling seen. I miss being wanted. Josh reminded me of what that felt like. So when he leaned in to kiss me, I didn't pull away. When he wrapped his arms around me, I melted into him. And when I woke the next morning tangled in his embrace, the guilt crushed me. He was already gone. No note, no goodbye, just absence. I told myself it was a one-time mistake, something I'd erase and never repeat. I deleted his number, blocked him everywhere, and threw myself into being the best wife I could be. I made Alex's favorite dinners, laughed at his awkward jokes, even suggested a getaway to reconnect. I buried the truth, thinking it would decay in silence. But lies don't stay buried. They rot everything from within. 3 weeks passed. Alex didn't seem suspicious. Life moved on, until one night, he came home early, unexpected. He looked pale, distant, didn't even remove his coat. No kiss, no greeting, just quiet tension. Then he handed me his phone. A video played, grainy but damning. Security footage from our own front porch. Josh, me, the hug that lasted too long. The moment I let him in, my stomach dropped. I thought maybe it was innocent, Alex said softly. But I waited. I hired someone. I had him followed. He'd seen it all. I tried to explain, to say it meant nothing. That I loved him, not Josh. That it was a mistake. He didn't scream, didn't break down. Just said, I was planning to surprise you with a trip to Italy for our anniversary. Everything was ready. Now I just need to understand why. And I had no good answer. Because I was lonely. Because I wanted to feel alive again. Because I thought no one would ever know. But none of that changed what I had done. That night, he moved into the guest room, and silence moved in between us. Days passed, then weeks. We shared space, but not lives. Spoke only when necessary. Then, like a spark tossed on dry leaves, Josh messaged me again. A new number. He said he couldn't stop thinking about me. That maybe this was fate. That we were meant to be. And for one reckless second, I almost replied, because things with Alex felt broken beyond repair. Maybe I had already burned every bridge. But when I stared at that message, all I saw was ruin. So I did what I should have done from the beginning. I told Alex everything. Not just the act, but the ache behind it. The loneliness. The disconnection. The part of me that had gone quiet inside. I cried through every word, expecting him to walk away. He didn't. He listened. Then he asked, "Did you ever love him more than me?" I answered without hesitation. No, that night didn't fix us. There were no cinematic reconciliations. But it was the first crack of truth in a wall built on silence. We started therapy. Painful, raw, uncomfortable sessions where we dissected our marriage like a surgeon looking for rot. Some days, he couldn't look at me. Other days, I couldn't stand the sight of myself. But we kept going. because beneath the pain and betrayal, there was still love. Josh faded away again. I never responded to his last message. I never will. And slowly, piece by piece, we started to rebuild. A few months later, we were making dinner together, something we hadn't done in ages. I was slicing garlic while Alex stirred a pot on the stove, humming softly. The air between us was quiet, but not cold, peaceful. Then he asked something I didn't expect. Do you think we needed it? I paused. Needed what? He met my eyes. The wake-up call. I set the knife down. No one needs to be cheated on, I said carefully. But I think we needed to realize what we become. And it took something awful to shake us awake. He nodded. Yeah, I hate what happened. But I also hate who we were before it did. And he was right. We'd been sleepwalking through a marriage, showing smiles in public while starving in private. What I did can never be excused. But it cracked open a truth we both had ignored. Rebuilding wasn't pretty. It wasn't dramatic or romantic. It was awkward, uncomfortable, messy. We made rules. We drew boundaries. We checked in not just emotionally, but physically. Asked tough questions like, do you feel desired? Or is anything missing? We started dating again. Not candlelight and flowers, but laughing over dumb movies, grocery shopping like it was an adventure. We left our phones behind on little trips. We started to listen again. The trust didn't rush back. It arrived in pieces. There were moments I panicked, like when he left his phone face down and my stomach twisted. But instead of accusing him or spiraling, I asked, and he answered. That's what changed. We didn't let the silence grow anymore. And something else changed, too. I forgave myself. That took longer than anything. The shame lingered. Every good moment reminded me of what I'd almost destroyed. But Alex helped me even through that. I'm not saying it didn't hurt, he once told me. But I chose to stay. That means I chose to forgive. But you have to forgive yourself, too. So I did, and this is where we are now. People think infidelity is the end. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it should be. But for us, it was the ugly, messy beginning of something real. Something raw. Something earned. I still remember that night. The girl who opened the door and let her past walk back in. I don't hate her. I pity her. She thought a few fleeting moments of comfort could replace connection. But now I understand. Love isn't about being flawless or never messing up. It's about what you do after the fall. Whether you choose to rise and rise together. I slept with my ex. My husband found out. And somehow we didn't just survive. We started over.